Hello my dear friends and welcome back to the Nurses Hub. So today we are going to study regarding the topic CPR, the cardiopulmonary resuscitation. So even though if you are belonging to the non-medical background, this topic is going to be very much important as it provides you a golden opportunity to save the life of anybody, anytime and any place. So let us start the topic without any further delay. So coming to the introduction. So basically whatever we want to study, I have already listed down the content on the blackboard. We'll just study that in a systematic order. So regarding introduction, it is CPR. Okay. C stands for cardio, P stands for pulmonary, and R stands for resuscitation. Okay. Cardio means heart. Okay. Pulmonary means lungs. And resuscitation means recovery. Okay. So basically it just means that recovery of the heart and lungs. It is called as cardiopulmonary resuscitation. In case when the heart and lungs have got collapsed, that usually happens in case of cardiac arrest or respiratory arrest. So in that case we are trying to recover the function of the heart and lungs. That is only called as the CPR. So this is all about your introduction. Next we'll move on with the definition. So I have brought two definitions for you people. One is basic definition and another one is quite standardized definition. The basic definition is CPR is defined as basic life support with basic life-saving techniques. Life-saving techniques till the arrival of ambulance. Okay. So just we are going to provide the life support in a very basic manner to save the life of the patient till the arrival of ambulance. Now why I have added here is to save till the arrival of ambulance is just because before the arrival of ambulance it is basic life support, as we don't have any professional support, we don't have any instrumental or device support. So it is called as the basic life support, BLS. And once after the arrival of ambulance, this BLS it get transformed or converted to ACLS, advanced cardiac life support. Because in ACLS, once after the ambulance arrives, we sometimes even defibrillate the patient as per the need. We even administer some of the cardiac stimulating drugs or any other medicines which can initiate the functions of lungs as well as the heart. So that's why it is called as the ACLS, the advanced cardiac life support after the arrival of ambulance. That's why it is very important with BLS we add the arrival of ambulance. Second one is quite standardized, I told. So this definition it states that CPR is defined as the process to establish artificial airway. Artificial airway in case of patients with no pulse and no breathing. In person with no pulse and no breathing. Okay. So basically we are trying to maintain the or establish an artificial airway. Now why I called it as artificial airways? Just because the patient himself fails to maintain the airway and somebody else is providing him assistance to establish the airway or to maintain the breathing. Externally somebody else is supporting. That's why we call it as artificial airway. Okay. In case of person with no pulse and no breathing. So when the pulse and the breathing is absent in the patient, we usually try to establish the artificial airway so that the functions of the heart and lungs can be accelerated to some extent. Okay, so this is your second definition. So next we'll move on with the purpose. So we have got three purposes of the CPR. The first one is to keep the life of patient, as I already told you in the definition. To keep the life of patient. Okay. Second one is to restore the function of heart and lungs. To restore the function of heart and lungs. Okay, and the third one, which is very important, is to prevent the irreversible brain damage. To prevent brain damage. Now why I called it as irreversible is because if the brain does not get oxygen supply for over 1 to 2 minutes or even some seconds, sometimes it may lead to the damage to the brain cells or the neurons, and the neurons do not have any capacity to regenerate themselves again. So next we'll move on with the indications. Okay, so indications are very simple. We have basically got three indications for CPR. First one is the cardiac arrest. Cardiac arrest. As I told that it is related with the heart, it is cardiac arrest. Second one, since it is related with the lungs also, as we are restoring both the functions, heart as well as lungs, so it is respiratory arrest. Respiratory arrest. And the third one is combination of both. Combination of both. Now cardiac arrest means there is blockage in the heart and the heart has got collapsed or it has stopped for a certain period of time. So immediately we want to restore the cardiac function. That is called as the cardiac arrest due to any blockage. Next one is the respiratory arrest. Due to any of the foreign bodies in the trachea which is obstructing the airway, it leads to the respiratory arrest. And the third one is combination of both. In case of the road traffic accidents, when the person meets an accident, unwantedly or unnecessary the incidents occurs, in that case these both they can occur together. Because of the physical damage, the cardiac arrest, and because of the unplanned accident, even the foreign bodies can enter inside the trachea. That can lead to the respiratory arrest. So combination of both, it is also one kind of indication. So this is all about the indication. Next we will move on with the sequence. So for sequence, previously the sequence was ABC. A, B, C, the airway, breathing and compressions. Later on when the studies were carried out, it was found that in order to make the CPR more effective and to make it more effective to save the life of patient, this format is supposed to be changed or slightly modified, and then it was modified to C, A, B. Okay, compressions, airway and breathing. So whenever we see a person with cardiac arrest, immediately we have to start up with the compressions, then we have to maintain the airway, and then we have to provide the breathing. Now compressions we are going to provide in this way. The airway we have to provide by lifting up the chin so that the trachea gets straight, and then we have to provide breathing. Breathing can be provided either mouth to mouth or else with the ambu bag. Okay, this is all about the sequence. Next we'll move on with the steps. So coming to the steps, so whenever we see somebody suddenly falls down with a cardiac arrest and he becomes unconscious, so first thing which we have to do is immediately reach to the person or the spot. Okay, reach out to the person. Reach out immediately. Second thing, immediately we have to call for the help or 108. Call 108, that is ambulance. Okay. Next, when we reach to the person, immediately we have to call the person. We have to make sure that the person gets up. We have to call him like, hello mister, hey please get up. In this way we have to call out. This is a verbal response we expect from the patient? So verbal call. So if the person does not respond to the verbal call, then we have to give the pain stimulus. Okay, pain stimulus. Pain stimulus we are giving by pinching both the shoulder muscles. We have to pinch it tight enough so that if pain is there, the person can shout out or call loudly. But in case if the pain stimulus is also absent, the verbal response is absent, the pain stimulus is also absent, immediately we have to see for the LLF. LLF, that is look, listen and feel. So these three things are going to give you a confirmation whether it's a cardiac arrest or heart attack. Okay. So L stands for look, L stands for listen, and F stands for feel. Okay. So these three things you have to do at same time. You have to bring your ear close to the patient's nose like this way, and same time you have to do all the three things. With the eyes you have to check whether there is rise and fall in the chest. With the ears you have to hear whether there is any breath sounds from the nose, and with the three fingers you have to feel for the patient's carotid pulse. So at the same time you have to do all the three things: look, listen and feel. Okay, so at the same time. And if this is also absent, then this is a confirmation 100% that the person has suffered a heart attack or cardiac arrest. So immediately, without any delay, you have to start up with the CPR. Okay, without any delay, immediately. Now these three things, look, listen and feel, it is going to take less than 10 seconds as you are doing it at the same time. It is going to take less than 10 seconds of time. Now this less than 10 seconds of time is permissible to be wasted or to be spent on LLF as you are going to start up with the CPR. So it gives you a confirmation of cardiac arrest. So this 10 seconds is permissible. Okay. And once it is confirmed that it's a heart attack, immediately without any delay you have to start up with the CPR. Now we'll see about the CPR in detail. Right. There are three sequences of giving CPR. First is compression. So compression, you have to just take your dominant hand, place it at the nipple line in the center of the sternum bone. Okay. If I say this is your sternum bone, so nipples usually they will be here. So above the two fingers if you take, usually it will be coming your nipple line only. So you can see either the nipple line or else just two fingers above. So it will usually come at the same place. So there at the center you have to place your dominant hand like this way, then your non-dominant hand like this way. The fingers must be interlocked. Your hands must be straight. There should not be bend anywhere like this way. And then you have to bend like this way. And then you have to give the CPR like this way. Okay. So your shoulders, they must be interlocked. There must not be any loosening of the hands. And when you give it, the compressions, they must be at a rate of 100 to 120 per minute. Okay. This should be the rate. It should be very fast and hard. Fast compressions and hard. Okay. The depth of the compression, it must be 5 centimeters. This is in case of adults. In case of infants, it should be 1 to 2 centimeters of depth. Okay. This is for adults. So when you give the compressions, the rate must be 100 to 120 per minute. Depth must be minimum 5 centimeters. It should go inside. Okay, so that it is more effective. And in case of infants, the depth must be 1 to 2 centimeters. So this is all about the compressions. The rate 100 to 120 per minute. Depth 5 centimeters in case of adult and 1 to 2 centimeters in case of children's. And it must be fast and hard enough. Okay. Next we'll move on to the second one is your airway sequence. So there is nothing in airway, you just have to lift up the chin so that the trachea gets straight and any kind of the obstructions are there, they can be cleared out. So that's it in the airway. Lifting up the chin. Okay, that's it. And your last one is the breathing. Okay, so for breathing, you have to make sure after every 30 compressions, you have to give 2 breaths. Okay, if you are using ambu bag, then 2 ambu bags after every 30 compressions. If you are giving mouth to mouth breathe, then after every 30 compressions, 2 blows you have to give with the mouth. Okay, so for breathing it is 30:2, 30 compressions and 2 breaths. Okay, so after every 2 cycles, which will usually take around 2 minutes, so after every 2 cycles you have to repeat the LLF. Okay, that is LLF, look, listen and feel. So you have to, after 2 cycles, again look for the patient's rise and fall of the chest, listen for the breath sounds and feel for the carotid pulse, whether there is any progress because of the 2 cycles or not. You have to check out that whether the person's pulse is present, whether the person's breath sounds has improved, or whether the rise and fall you can notice or not. That you have to just check out one more. If it is improved or if it is not there, again you have to continue the same cycle. Okay, and this you have to continue till the patients get responsive or he gets up, or till the ambulance arrives to the spot, so that the further can be provided by the ambulance. Okay, so this is all about your CPR. Okay, so lastly I just want to tell you a small complication of the CPR. Now the complication is there may be rib fracture. Rib fracture. Okay, because you are giving the CPR hard and fast. Okay, and the compression rate is also 100 to 120. The depth is even 5 centimeters inside it has to go. So there are chances that the rib may get fractured. So you need not to be worried about the fracture of rib, because if you save the life of patient, then you can get cover with your rib fracture over a small period of time. But if you don't save the life of patient, only thinking that the ribs will get fractured, then what you do with the rib fracture? This is the point here. So you can expect a fracture of rib when you are giving the CPR, and that's not going to be a problem. Okay, because your main aim is to save the life of the patient. Fracture is permissible in case if it happens, not a problem. So you don't have to worry about the rib fracture, because you have to choose the life of patient over the fracture. Okay, so this is all about the CPR. So stay tuned, I'll be uploading a video regarding the demonstration of CPR also. So here I conclude the topic. Any of the kind of doubts or clarifications are there, kindly let me know in the comment box. Thank you.